many guns do you have?
17.
I'm an American, so 52.
So you have guns in your house?
Not wrong.
No, I am a gun.
Oh, I mean, if
No,
we're
I-
counting these ones, I also have 2 guns.
Yeah, 2 guns right here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Take the gun show.
Oh,
Oh, nice. Very
No,
nice.
like,
You think,
man-
Bob, will we kick off?
Yeah.
Let's go. It's time
Waffles.
for some waffling. Oh,
Okay, sit down. Come on, stop messing around. Sit down. Okay, guys, I want to be clear before we start. This is going to be a very standard event. There'll be nothing out of the ordinary. Nobody is to
No,
talk
but-
or say anything weird.
Yeah.
Psych! Totally going the opposite way. What we're going to do is we're going to slowly push Shoseki up to the front of the room, and then we're going to have a conversation. But the speakers have got to be jumping on a table. But he is pushing them. He is actually pushing him.
Can you push people?
Now we're going to make the entire show about. I should let you know that Shoseki is recording and streaming this event, right? So if you wave to him, he's around somewhere in the room. He's having an outer body experience right now, and he's also our main guest.
Shizeki is now the star. This is getting real meta and backwards. And all kinds of
Yeah.
craziness now. So
I'm pretty sure he can get involved, but he just won't appear on the stream, so it'll seem like we're all crazy and having a one-way conversation.
Wait,
But,
you guys are saying?
conversations normally.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in the wrong place.
Well, look, we decided off the back of our AMAs and our Space Maker events, where we tended to go off on a tangent, that maybe we make it official, and that's what this event is for us to just have a chat
Waffle.
about the latest things. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Ander, you've got to be jumping.
Yeah.
If you're talking, you've got to be jumping.
It's going to be hard to
that we-
focus while.
It is. It is.
But it'll spice things up,
Sorry,
right?
Shizeki, you
We'll
can
have
have
awkward pauses while we're talking.
Trying to
while we
get
try and,
onto the table.
Yeah, I'll balance. Yeah, we'll be like, oh, so the thing is with that new Oh, hang on a minute there, guys. Well,
It's hard to
No,
tell
oh,
who's
yeah.
talking.
we should.
It is when you're moving
we should
so
probably,
fast.
We should probably wave our hands when we talk as well.
Yeah, and jump on one leg. Oh no, wait, we don't have body tracking yet.
So the same points I wanted to bring up at the start, right?
If you've got dogs and they're in the background, make sure that they bark and make sounds from time to time. That's also useful for when you're jumping and talking.
Just so we don't forget,
Oh,
I
there's
wanted
Clippy.
to bring up. I wanted to bring up 3D printing later. So remind me
lovely.
to,
Oh,
that's so
to talk about
cool.
that. Okay.
Remind Bob to talk about 3D printing.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, what's our topic? We had a topic in mind earlier, Bob. What
I
do we want
think
to
it
kick
was
off on?
the deck guard. I
Oh, boy.
think it was something I wanted to bring up last week. That would kind
Okay.
of actually be a great topic to bring up this week. With I don't know if anybody saw recently. There was a website that was kind of
Yeah.
shared around all over Twitter and X, whatever you want to call it, about a Valve Prism. So this new headset, everyone was going, "Oh my God, Valve's brought out a new headset! What the hell? They haven't even told anybody." So everyone was sharing this headset. It was a $1,200 headset for I can't even remember what the gigabytes were now. I think one was like 512, one was 1 terabyte. But yeah, everyone was going crazy for it. But then it took 2 minutes to realize that it was a fake website. But yeah, it was just funny to see that. I wanted to bring
Did
that up
people
last
get
week.
scammed
and-
out of money?
No.
No,
No,
there
I
was
don't
no
think
it was a
purchase
sale.
anything.
No,
Yeah.
just
I
our
just
Yeah.
dreams. We got scammed out
Well-
of our dreams. Our dreams were dashed.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
By the way,
I
Faye,
was
you've got to
kind of
bounce on the
excited.
table.
I was excited to be
yes.
fair, but when I saw the design, I was just like, "What is this? This is no way. This is the new
Yes.
standalone headset from Valve. Not a chance. It's not.
I'm
not
I
gonna be
actually
there.
thought-
something wasn't.
I mean, that was the
Something
one
wasn't
thing
right.
that I was actually surprised by. I don't know about any of the rest of you, but most of the text content of the site and the site itself was a little bit dodgy, but the renders were surprisingly good, especially given
Good,
that they
yeah.
had like moving video, high resolution video renders
And the X-ray
of this
shots
headset
as well,
and
like the
Yeah,
wireframe,
exactly.
Yeah.
it was easy to be
The
fooled by this.
cel-shaded.
Many
Yeah.
people were. In fact, everybody was fooled until Valve officially said,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not us.
This is not us,
So
yeah.
that's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Once I saw the spec, I was kind of like, okay, this seems like it might be in and around about what the Steam Deck is now, and
Yeah.
I don't know about any rest of you guys, but the Steam Deck is a pretty cool little gaming device, but I don't know if it's quite powerful enough to
It's not ready
appease
yet.
the
This is what I
appetite
was
of
going to bring up.
PCVR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like anybody that knows me, I'm a tinkerer, right? I'll mess around all day long with some crazy hacky workaround to try and put things together that shouldn't work, right? So I tried in the very early days of having the Steam Deck of connecting up my Quest 2 to it. And I managed to get it going. I did it both in the Steam version with ALVR, so natively on Steam. I managed to get PC VR working, and then also with Windows, right? So, but the thing is with this, when I was doing it, the games that I was playing it in, I would only get about 30 frames. So yeah, going back to that point, it's not ready yet. There's no way that there's hardware out there right now that can pump out stereoscopic, high resolution, high frame rate, stable standalone PC gaming yet. I don't think it's quite ready, and Valve know that. Yeah, I just thought
Time
it
for
was
a hot
interesting.
take. Right, Bob? Probably, right? Maybe Waffleman, since he's already bouncing, has some thoughts
Oh.
on the Deckard.
Well, I love the idea, but like you said, like we can't fit it that small yet, giggity. I don't know too much,
Oh, boy.
tech speak, but like I would compare it to, like, I have a Nintendo Switch, so that's like the closest to like a
Yeah,
standalone
that's a
little
Tegra,
console I have.
whatever it is.
Do what?
It's not the Switch. It's got a Tegra something in it.
Tegra. Integrity? No, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Integrity.
But
Integrity?
like I like
It's got
I don't have
yeah,
integrity.
it's got the Switch has got
Integrity.
integrity. It's got real good integrity.
But it's like,
sure it does. Oh yeah.
I don't even have a gaming PC yet, so I don't even know the world that's unlocked to me as soon as I get one with VR. So I'm still on the fence about, like, I think I'd rather get a gaming PC before I would get something like, the Steam Deck.
You see, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people would do that because I think that when you want to do PC VR, you want to crank that up. You want to do it
Right.
without limits. You want to be
For
able
sure.
to.
I want to play
get it much
Skyrim
more
with a
powerful.
mod where I can say the shouts. Like, I want that.
Yes.
I think we're about 2
And
years
you
away
need powerful-
from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, I don't know if we're 2 ways away from it at all. I would actually say that in order to achieve what people want there, that possibly cloud gaming is going to be the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
I mean, it's interesting to
hybrid,
see
I've
how
always said this.
Yeah, well, it's true. That's true. Even like you've said in the past, like a real-time hybrid, right? Where parts of what you're seeing are cloud, parts of them are local.
Close stuff is kind of rendered locally on the headset. High fidelity, low refresh, low latency, and then everything else in the background that's a little bit further away. And even the foveated stuff, right? That's out of view once all these headsets have got hide tracking. It'll help offload some of the processing that's needed on the headset. So, it'll save battery, and you can really start to push these things. I think eye tracking alone, that is the biggest Achilles heel to the whole situation of VR standalone. Anyway,
Pro.
having that cheaper and having it on every
Art
headset will
1701
save a
has
lot of
joined the
performance.
space.
Anyway, I'm waffling.
Oh,
Aren't
that's
we
right.
all?
We've got to say that after we say something. That's right. I forgot
I'm
about
just
that.
waffling.
Yeah,
Has
I
joined
mean,
the space.
the thing about that, of course, is that when you're talking about cloud, instantly the word that comes to mind is latency, right? Can latency be combated? Can you mix together a local and a remote version of something and be able to deal with that motion to photon, but still accommodate the cloud stuff? I mean, that's I think what remains to be seen, but I think that's kind of the golden goose here. We need to get processing and power off our faces, and that's probably going to be the key to making this stuff smaller and much more comfortable.
That's
And
going
then
to
we need to-
require new technology to some extent.
Nanotech.
Yeah, well, Apple have kind of got there already, right? Bringing up the Apple Vision Pro again. They've offloaded a lot of the processing to a separate chip. A whole reality processing unit. So that's kind of what's going to be the new norm, is having separate chips that do a whole separate subset of things, and they all communicate to each other.
I do have a question about the Apple Vision Pro. Like, from what I've seen, the only thing that it can do that the Quest 3 can't do is answer phone calls. Am I correct in this, or is there a lot more it can do?
I don't even know if it can answer phone calls, can it?
You can.
what
I mean, you could
from
do
what I heard-
FaceTime. You can do FaceTime on it, so I think that's why people are thinking that you can. It's a lot more social or something like
So
that.
like that's
Do you know?
that's the only thing it can do other that the Quest 3 can.
Yeah. I mean, there's honestly
Oh my
there's so many
God.
reviews out
But I still
already.
get WhatsApp calls
the
on my
screens are good.
Quest too.
Well, there you go. Right. So that's pretty much the equivalent, right?
hell,
FaceTime
man?
is kind of Apple's native social.
$3,500.
WhatsApp is Meta's native social. So that's pretty much
Yeah.
the equivalent there. But if anybody's interested, I saw a really great article come out just in the last day or so from David Heaney at Upload VR. Yeah. You might remember David Heaney from the early days of VR, but
yeah.
lots of reviews. He did a really, really detailed one. It's pretty scathing, I think, on the Apple side to just add that. Hopefully, spoilers. But it's a good read. It's a good long read. You know, he generally tends to give things a good thorough work over. But sorry, Appy, were you going to say something there before we all just waffled on?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking on the top of my head, since I mentioned new technology, I was thinking maybe different, like the electronics or the technology behind the processors would be different, not just processes doing different tasks. Because if you take, say, Moore's law, we know that at some point we can't get the chips to be smaller than a certain size. So I was thinking maybe something like photonics or some other area, or maybe I know there's lithography or some area. I think these new branches would help us to get more hardware, and this hardware would enable us to have better experiences with VR and more like and more higher processing power in the end. That's what I was thinking in my head.
Gotcha. I mean, it's definitely a really interesting thought. I mean, a lot of these things are kind of converging, right? In terms of this spatial computing tech, you know, plus the crazy power of AI, you know.
Yep, that's what I was gonna get
Plus-
to. Was with AI coming out now, crazy stuff.
Yeah,
happening.
and at some point, you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. You know, Moore's law has been pretty much dead now for probably the last 10 years. I don't think we've been able to get any more power out of what we're doing with silicon.
Yeah.
It's all been about
Chips are just getting bigger now.
sideways scale rather than
Yeah.
vertical scale. You know, it's just more chips,
Yep.
more
Bigger chips.
devices. You
Double
know,
chips.
let's just throw more stuff at it. But it'll be
Four
really
chips in
interesting.
one
I don't know.
chip.
Maybe is that like 20 years away? Are we kind of technically like chips? If you cut this waffle into four, is that just 4 waffle chips? But yeah. I mean, I don't know, maybe 40 years, and then it's like you're wearing something that you can't even see, or it's just all
Well-
virtual, projected out from your eyes. That's where I'd say we'd be at by the time that sort of stuff is. And God knows, I hope to live that long.
Well, there's something that people are missing right now as well is quantum computing, right? That's a
Yeah,
big
yeah. I mean, that's
deal
what
right
we're
now.
that's
That
what
was
we're
actually
talking
my
about.
research for last year, but for my
Yeah.
undergrad. But yeah, I know,
qubits.
because I know because currently my masters, I know like a couple of my lecturers doing research in that field. So what exactly is happening there is a lot of people expect it to be huge scale, but that's not what is going to happen over the next 10 years. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make it scalable, and also where you would use a smaller amount of qubits instead of a larger amount, and commercialize it. That is what the plan is right now.
Well, you
Yeah.
don't need many,
Uh,
do you? It's just figuring out how to make use of how we process that information at the moment is the biggest way,
Yeah.
the biggest thing. And at the moment, we still need a classical computer to communicate to this quantum computer.
I'll tell you
and-
like the
and
It's a
exact
paradigm
problem.
shift.
It's a
that.
crazy realm of stuff going on there. It's yeah. I
So,
tried to look more into it, but it's all still early days on it all. Yeah.
Mhm.
D-Wave is a
so
big company in it.
actually my supervisor in my undergrad was a co-founder of D-Wave.
Right.
But
Wow.
apart from that,
Yeah, they
so
were the early dogs. They were. I've been following them for years now. Crazy people.
that is true. My lecturer, he wants to like build a superconductor processor immediately, but I don't think it's very feasible. But what I was gonna say is because I did tests on like the IBM quantum computer in my third year. So maximum is you can do it up to 25 qubits, which will take like 3 days or 5 days just to like run the code. And I found like it's not as like when you initially think of quantum computing, you think it's very like how far they've come, that they could speed things up, but I don't think they've reached that part yet. But theoretically, you can build it. But when it comes to the practicality of it, I think it's either 20 years behind to get something that's feasible to use in the public, or even 10 years, I would say.
I can't wait to see what
Yeah.
nursing homes are going to be like when we're all like old, like because it's going to be filled with this and D&D
Yes.
Yeah.
and like, oh man.
It's gonna
Anyway,
be awesome.
I can't wait to be old. Wait.
Johnny Mnemonic on crack.
Let's go for
The
a random
Matrix.
hot take. Let's see. Soli, how you doing up on top? You got any thoughts about what we're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the tech industry, but I just know as a gamer that I'm dying for like the Valve Index wireless version. Like I will throw money
Yeah.
at that, and I was really bummed out that Apple like I've grown up with Apple and always have Apple stuff, and I don't mind spending the money on it, but I'm like, I can't play games on it, so why am I going to spend this money to watch movies? That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. It was
The
one of the
Vision
points
Pro's
that
been the
David
biggest
Heaney
seller of
made.
Press 3. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
It was a quote from Jason Rubin, right? Who's been
Hagen Aiko
involved
has
in
joined the space.
VR at Meta for quite a while now, with a decent gaming background as well. Oh, hey, Kage. But basically, he was saying that there's lots of things you can do. You want to take the compute away, take the power away, all that kind of stuff. But whatever you do, you're left with that wire, right? And you really can't forget about the wire. And that's the thing, right? You're hearing it already a lot. They've got that, whatever it is, lock safe, mag safe connector on the Apple Vision Pro, but you're already hearing about people who are like jarringly pulling their head across and the headset's getting pulled away, or they forgot to pick the battery up, or they've got their arm caught on it when turning around or something like that. And
There's been a lot of refunds
yeah.
of it recently now. Returns.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting time, right? I think, collectively, despite, whatever your personal opinions are, let's say about Apple as a company,
Trash.
it's going to be
Wolf has
it's
joined
going to
the
be good for
space.
VR to see them do well. So yeah, I mean, I saw there was a poll on Cult of Mac,
Except
and
the costs.
75. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
It will get more
but
people
yeah.
involved in VR. It will get people interested
It's,
in what
it's put a rocket
this
up
is.
everybody's ass in general, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, I worry about the cost, right? I worry how much
Mm.
Apple can endure when some nations now are officially acknowledging that they're in recession. I think the UK acknowledges it every week, but I saw an article earlier. A poll was done. It's all over Reddit at the minute, that 76% of people are going to be returning them. Right? That's not. That's kind of worrying. That's not a good thing. But it could be looked at one of two ways, right? I just think that price point is crazy. They're selling it at the price of a Mac. But if it could do some of the things that a Mac can do, because it's got the capability, it's got the power under the hood, if only it could do some of those, work use cases where you could actually install Mac apps onto it and somehow run those in Windows, right?
I think a lot of people bought it,
pages and
though.
everything, and
A lot of people bought it who shouldn't have really bought it right now. And I knew that you got to be realistic. It's an early. I know that it's Apple. I know that they don't really release developer kits or whatever, but it's basically what it is, right? They didn't do much preamble to it except for that one kind of mid-year thing last year. Then that was it up until recently when they did this big launch. But yeah, you gotta give it time. As with the Apple Watch, things will come over time
Ellen has joined
once
the space.
the ecosystem flourishes out with more apps. But they've screwed over developers, so that's gonna put a hold up on things. Who knows what could have happened if Apple had done things differently. But yeah.
Let's get a hot take from Aline, who's just joined us. But you've got to stand on a table and jump. That's the deal. If you want to talk, you got to jump.
Might as well jump.
Oh, Aline's muted.
Can you hear
Oh
me?
no. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, no time. I'm just here to listen.
Gotcha. That's fair. Yeah, look, do you know what? I think a lot of people's hearts were broken earlier in the week to have seen that valveprism.com website come up and then to discover a couple of hours later that it wasn't real.
For like 5 seconds.
I think a lot of people were, I mean, geez, that would be such an amazing announcement right now. And, we know that some kind of Quest 3 Lite is coming. If all these announcements happened this year, it could create that flurry, reinvigorate things a little bit, and maybe bring more attention onto the space in general. Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know when we're going to see that. I don't know when Valve can cram everything into a device that can do it all, or maybe be a hybrid device that can do both. But
that's what it'll be. It'll be a hybrid for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, probably,
But
right?
I'm
We'll probably have a
curious.
similar sort of tier. Yeah.
I'm curious, since you said even if it's fake, you said the price was like 12K?
1,200.
No,
and,
1,200.
And
And
1,400.
1,500.
Yeah.
Oh, then it's not that bad, because if it's 12K, my first question was, what technology are they using
Oh
on
no,
that
no.
thing?
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's that
smart. That's
expensive.
smart.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations,
bad.
Helen. You landed safe, I assume. You're not in midair right now? Nice.
No, I'm back in
Oh.
the smelly engine.
Well, sorry you didn't get better weather. But the weather's great since you left.
I had a quick question. You had mentioned about the Quest 3 Lite. Do you think
Yes.
we'll probably get something like, they had the Pro for the Quest 2? Will we get like a Pro version of the Quest 3?
I hope so. That'd be cool.
I want face tracking. I'm an actor and I want face tracking.
I haven't
It'd
heard
be very
anything
smart
about
if
it.
they do.
Yeah. I mean, I think
there's no news about it.
there's talk of a Quest Pro 2 in the works with LG, right? So
Okay,
that's something
alright.
they're working on right now. There's talk of that maybe landing in 2025. All rumored, really, more than anything. No
Right.
official announcements, but I suspect that could be where they're focusing their effort in terms of that high-end market. Although,
There's a middle
Zuckerberg did
ground
just
between
say
those
only
two
a couple of
headsets.
days ago in that post that he did about being the open platform that eye tracking was
For
going to
video.
come to Quest 3 level devices soon. So
Ooh.
it's hard to know.
Yeah.
It depends, right? I think mostly it boils down to cost. And Facebook Meta are doing a weird thing there, whereby Quest 2 and Quest 3 are obviously heavily subsidized, but then Quest Pro was in this weird nebulous where they somehow tried to make a profit on it, I guess. But
Didn't they stop
I don't know.
making them?
Yeah, it seems Quest Pro has basically died off
Maybe
in
not
the
the
end.
Quest Pro controllers. Who knows with that one?
No.
Those seem to be
Quest
quite
Pro
popular.
controllers are pretty amazing little piece
Well,
of kit.
from
for
what
sure.
I was hearing, like you would lose tracking all the time until they finally did an update.
They fixed it now. It seems it's got a lot better
what I hear.
recently with all the updates. Yeah, the controllers have had a
Yeah,
few
my friend
updates. The
J-Bag
headsets
just-
had updates.
My friend J-Bag just
But a
he
quick
had
little
sold
tangent
his
there.
Pro but bought it back.
A quick little tangent there. I just wanted to just say about the Quest Pro controllers because I was in workspace spaces about a month ago in a meeting, and I had the Quest Pro controllers, and you can use them as a stylus or a pen. So you get a nib
Oh.
attachment that you can put on the bottom of the controller, and you can draw, and it's pressure sensitive too. So the nib pushes a button inside of the controller, so you can push down
that's
onto the table.
cool.
It's crazy. So if you ever get a chance to try it out, highly recommend trying it out. Sorry for that tangent. I just had to say it.
Oh no.
Really cool little
No,
feature.
that's awesome. I mean, my
Bob, you're
handwriting's terrible,
waffling.
so I'd never do
Thank you
that.
very much.
No worries. Just have to plug that thing up. I don't work for Meta. But buy those.
The Quest
controllers.
Pro controllers are interesting, right? I think that a really interesting place for
Aline
those
doesn't
to end
like
up. I think a lot of these headsets that we're going to see may ship without controllers, right? The Quest Pro controllers are going
Yeah.
to become the de facto upgrade for the Quest 3 Lite. Is that it's going to come controllerless?
If you want that extra
And
stuff.
you know, I don't think they would ever do it, right? But a great place for Meta to potentially position those is just to make them interoperable and become the de facto controllers for standalone VR, and that
cross generation. Yeah.
other devices could also, because
Yeah, but then
I
they make other
suspect.
the
people
case.
money.
Yeah, well, I mean that's true, right? But also they
But they
would sell controllers at the price of a headset.
Exactly,
right? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
Replaceable
I think-
batteries, please, because that was one of the
Rechargeable
other things
controllers,
Yeah.
please.
yeah,
Love
maybe
that.
Because,
USB-C
I
You
mean-
can take them
ports.
apart, but that would be nice. It is a bit of
Yeah.
a pain in the
Very
ass.
nice.
because
But they're
like one of the
They do
things
last a
that
few
I
years.
hear people run into is that they have to put down their controllers on the pad to actually charge them and have them
Yeah.
Yes.
out of range. But with replaceable,
Mhm.
if you really need your hands, you can change your batteries, right?
Yeah.
What you can do is the
I-
Quest 3 is changeable, and I bought the charging stand from Meta, which includes rechargeable batteries inside that you can put inside the controllers.
Yeah.
Which means that if I really need it, I can like put it like switch out the batteries, or I can like
Charge it.
I can just charge them on the pad, right? So it's like
That's cool.
Mhm.
How much was
Yeah, I
that?
totally agree.
Yeah, I hear this a
more
lot
than I care
though.
to admit.
I just wanted to kind of argue from the other side, because I was always up for the swapping of the batteries, and I still am a fan of it. But to be fair, I've never once had a problem with these Quest Pro controllers ever having no battery in them, ever. And people know how much I play games and how long I can, have a session in VR for. So like it's never been a problem. Like if you need to go to the toilet, you just pop them on the thing quickly, and in that space of time, you probably get about an hour again out of it, Or if you just have a quick drink or something, you're not going to be playing non-stop, but you just
Yeah.
drop them on the stand. It's surprising how quickly they do charge. So honestly, they're
Yeah.
really good.
It's pretty cool.
And if you
Never
do
had
have
a
any
that's what I do
problems,
with the Quest
They last
3,
for
so-
hours.
just go to the toilet more often. That's all you got to do,
Yeah.
right?
That's it. You got it.
Or make food
it.
more
But
often.
wait, what
Yeah,
about those
just
of us who
pretend to
play
go.
on the toilet?
Well,
I mean,
even when I don't do that, I can just they do last about 8 hours non-stop, and even probably longer. I haven't really pushed it yet, but you're not going to be playing
mean,
that much. You're going to have an half an hour
well,
break in that.
There's the thing though, right? Because I don't know about you, but I've done like 14-hour stints back in the old days, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think to Zell's point, it would be just nice to have the ability to hot swap, because then you could have
I
infinite time,
understand.
right? Rather than being stuck. And the only way around it would be to have another set of
A
controllers.
set of controllers,
So-
for sure.
I think a nice compromise would be just, a USB-C port. So if you're really
that-
stuck, throw a battery pack in your pocket and get some wires. Will Apple Vision Pro it out for a few minutes?
There
and
is a slot at the bottom.
get your
to stick a
controllers charged.
USB-C thing in there. They could have that
Is there?
at the bottom B. They
Yeah,
could have
yeah, I
that,
get you.
The slot.
ooh,
I mean, that
Like,
was the main
with
part
me-
why I did not like the
Now I
index
want Pro
controllers.
Right, like
I
I,
like the
I
index.
agree with the swappable being like tedious and swapping out normal batteries.
It-
But when I bought the charging stand from Meta, and it had these rechargeable batteries, right? They are just like they are not normal rechargeable batteries. They are specific for the Quest 3, right? And they are in the controllers all the time. And whenever I put my my controllers down, I can put them on the charging stand.
Yeah.
So I get the Pro charging of sorts, but I can also swap them out in dire emergencies, and
For
that's
sure,
where
yeah.
I'm like,
That's
dire
don't argue-
emergencies
yeah,
is
yeah.
nice.
I mean,
I get
in
you.
all honesty, I would like for hand tracking to become more of a thing, to where we don't even need
Yeah.
controllers. Like,
Mm.
I would like the
Yeah.
to where we have like holsters, like for guns, like on the side on our hips, where we can just hang our controllers or something, like, and let them
Wow.
charge there. I think that'd be cool, but like, I just
even
want
Howdy, partner.
gloves,
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
The
lightweight things
feature
on your
where
hands. I
you
don't
can
know.
use controllers for
haptic
gaming
gloves.
and then put the controllers down when you just don't need them and just
like
use
when
your
we're doing
hands
this. Do I
otherwise.
really need controllers to move my hands around? Like,
I feel
No.
my hands actually pain
True.
sometimes just holding the controllers and like moving them while talking in
Yeah.
here.
So
it does feel
there's a new thing-
unnecessary.
they've just started to roll out now this new, you can use hand tracking and controllers together. So you can have one hand be hand tracking, the other have a controller, which I think is kind of interesting. But I mean, it's the biggest problem, and this is part of what I think Apple are kind of ignoring when it comes to their device, especially the gaming use case, because they've got games and they expect you to play them with hand tracking, but it's just not precise enough. The latency isn't low enough. The speed of tracking,
Yeah.
isn't. There's a bunch,
don't
and
have
the
that-
tactile
Yeah.
feedback of buttons and being able to the precision that we have with these controllers, the whatever,
Just can't do it. with
God
hand tracking
knows,
right
200
now.
to 300 frames a second update that are basically instant in terms of motion to photon versus the amount of additional post processing that needs to be done for the hand tracking.
Hand
I mean, it was one of the things I was looking forward to, and honestly, I'm still kind of reserving my judgment because my Apple Vision Pro is still in transit. But I mean, that's what I want to see is the hand tracking. But I've seen it already. I've seen people play, Fruit Ninja on there, and you swipe your hand and it doesn't chop the fruit, and that's kind of
There's a
the
lag.
basics of. Well, it just stops
Yeah.
tracking your hand midair,
It's
and it can't because it's moving too fast, and there's only so many frames it can get.
I mean, the
Uh,
hand tracking on the Quest 3 is really good from what I've seen. It's not
It
perfect,
is.
but it's really good.
Mhm.
It seems to behave better at high speed for sure, yeah. But it also has latency problems, and your hand
Yeah.
will go out of sync with your real life hand if you're looking at
It'll
pass
think
through and
shadows
stuff. But
are hands as well.
it's
yeah.
getting it's
Simon
getting
has
better.
traveled to space.
For a number of years, hand tracking has only ever really been a gimmick, but it is starting to become more. If it gets to the point where Meta are confident enough in it that they can be like, okay, if we can emulate the buttons on your controller from your hand. If you move your thumb to certain places, if you pull your trigger finger, if you pull your grip finger, we can just track that and
Like
emulate a
in-
button press.
In Meta
Like Virtual
Horizon
Desktop.
Worlds, there is a
Yeah.
builder performer called Island Aesthetic, and he's this amazing scripter to where he can have performances with lights and stuff where it's all tied to how he moves his hand or his head and
It's
head tracking. So
controllers,
yes, he can be like it's like, and all of a sudden the lights went out and he turns his head like that and the lights will go out, or he can control like a vast amount of a whole bunch of different lights as a show with just his hand. So it's like, that's amazing. If we can get close to that with hand tracking, like imagine the stuff we could do.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, I think the thing about hand tracking and body tracking in general is that for that kind of art installation use case, we've seen that for now a number of years, and it's always
Yeah.
been cool. Anytime somebody does it, right? They take the Xbox Connect and Elite Motion and throw something cool together where they can do this crazy big mapped projection thing. Often it involved as well, right? And those are all just
What was it?
really swell
The
things in
iToy
my
back
eyes.
in the day, what was that, the first thing for the PlayStation?
Yeah,
the
the
iToy.
PSI,
which
yeah.
was
Yeah.
sick.
I remember that. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
old.
I mean, my DK2 was using several of those along with a bunch of the PS Move controllers to try and get room scale before room scale was really
And
a thing.
Nolo as well. A lot of people were repping that.
Yeah,
That
that's right.
That's ultrasonic solution. That was pretty cool.
There's actually been so many different little things that have been developed over the years that have kind of half gone, and
Yeah.
just some of the early body tracking stuff that we used to do, Bob. Actually, that's probably a better topic for
Oh,
another
boy.
one of these, right? Body tracking. I think
We'll do that another time. We'll do that one.
that's a
next
really
time.
good
Yes,
topic.
We'll bang that
Yeah.
one. Yep. Yep.
But there's so much tech out there that's, the perception neuron, iKinema, there's loads of stuff out there in terms of haptic gloves and hand tracking gloves and all sorts of things that have kind of just been built over the last few years. Yeah, exactly.
I've seen like a treadmill guy, like open source, like that you can make with 3D printing. That's like you're moving by actually running or something in VR.
Yes.
There's
There's
also
lots
it
of
can hang
different things.
you can lean over and actually feel like you're flying because your feet will come off the ground.
Wow.
Oh, that
And you can 3D print that.
Yeah. From what I forget exactly what it's called, but a dude open sourced it, and it can all be 3D printed.
Gotcha. That sounds
I think
crazy.
gloves-
Right?
Gloves are the true solution, though, to a lot of this. Who was that, I think?
That's hilarious. That's probably true.
You're probably
Yes.
attaching it as a belt kind of thing, and then you just stand on it, and the belt
Yeah.
is doing the thing
because it's only
for
like
gravity.
$700, I think.
Oh my
Okay,
god!
so
Is that? Oh god, that's crazy.
Has anybody seen the Disney?
Yeah.
That Omnipad thing. That is
Yes.
Oh
cool.
yeah, it looks
I mean,
cool.
I
That
don't know
looks
what
like
you're
the
talking about.
future.
What the what now?
Like a good way to break an ankle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's all kind of crazy and risky, I'll be honest. But they had this thing recently where they had these kind of circular motors that were able to sort of tilt in different angles, and they could roll you around on a space with like this very
they just
minimal
spin, and then they spin
footprint
on the wheel,
of
but then they
things.
rotate
An
around, and then-
omnidirectional like
Yeah.
what's it called?
Yeah.
Treadmill.
We were just talking treadmill. Yeah, that was the word. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Disney came out with that?
Disney,
Yeah,
yes, and it's
Florey.
honestly the most advanced one I've seen. I'll be honest.
I haven't heard of that. I'm gonna
I
look
have
it
a
up.
Cat VR, right? It's at Bob's house, and both of us have tried it, and I'll be honest, it's fun. I actually tried to build one many moons ago, back in the early days. I built one from just wood, and I think what I found is that if you're really, really into it, it can be a lot of fun to figure out a way to get used to it so that you can use your body as a controller, right? That's actually really, really interesting. But it's not like walking or running in real life. Almost not at
it's
all.
running into the wind. It's like that. You've got that.
Yes.
You're kind of doing that. It's like
running in
that.
place.
Think of it like that.
It's like leaning
Yeah.
on a wall and then running so your feet are slipping on the ground. It's like that
Okay.
in the
It's like
best
shuffling
case
on ice
scenario.
in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But once you get into it and kind of let it, once you get into the
Suspension
flow,
of
and you,
disbelief.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I can see how this is
I'm
a
here
thing.
now.
But you've got to, but the process of sticking it all on, strapping on the boots, and strapping yourself in, making sure the wires are all
So
good,
you
making
still
sure you've
can
got your
feel
controllers all
that-
set up.
Yeah.
It's just a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah.
It's
I mean, the
just
Disney thing
always
was really
cumbersome.
cool. If you-
I'm gonna
if
have
you
to look. Just Disney Omnipad or something is what I look up.
Yeah, it's
and-
just
Alright.
Disney Research Labs. They just have this crazy dude who they just give him millions of dollars to do whatever he likes.
An
and just
Imagineer!
invents shit. It's crazy. But this is all to help Disney as well. They use it in all their attractions and amusement stuff. So he's like a
Oh yeah. Oh, that'll be
engineer of all kinds of
VR
stuff.
integrated into like Disney World. That oh man, that's a great idea.
yeah.
Mhm.
You can go to Disney World without actually having to pay, an arm and a leg.
Yeah, gloves. I think are going to be the thing that'll change a lot of things. If you can get those to be real lightweight, and be easy to use, not too cumbersome. They just work.
Where it
That's
feels
when
like your
VR will
actual
start to-
hand.
yeah, you got resistiveness,
Yeah.
right? You've got more haptic because that's what you're missing. You're always touching stuff in VR, and all you've got is a vibration.
Mhm.
And like the only thing that's one-to-one is kind of like a gun if you're holding normal controllers.
Yeah.
But with gloves, you can have that dynamic resistiveness to whatever you're
I
grabbing.
need
So OO needs to make gloves.
we need that freaking
Yeah,
Ready
I
Player
mean,
One stuff, man. We need
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I think
It
the
needs to
problem I
exist
see
now.
with a
just
lot of
even, like,
these
resistive stuff
devices,
on arms.
it's hard to justify the cost of scale when it comes to being able to build and ship a lot of these things, and I worry a lot of the ones that we're seeing today could be just too soon, and they
They
might
are.
not be able to kind of weather the storm to survive to actually become prominent when this reaches more of a mass market. But listen, I have
The
another
technology's just not
thing.
there.
Another thing that's kind of similar to the Deckard thing we saw this week that's maybe worth waffling about for a minute or two. There was another headset announced this week. I don't know if anybody noticed it, but there was a new headset announced coming from an unsuspecting vendor. It's called the VI, and it's particularly targeted at fitness.
Static thread has joined
And
the
it
space.
seems like it's kind of starting to mix a lot of the things we're talking about in terms of hand tracking and controllers in interesting ways, right? They seem to have like a palm worn controller which clearly offers you some tactile feedback in terms of being able to press buttons, but then also wants to leverage, I assume anyway, hand tracking for actual, positional tracking of your hands while you're in it. And I mean, I think that's potentially an interesting compromise, right? I think that's kind of maybe what they were trying to do with the Index in the early days, right? With the Knuckles controllers.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I do worry about, of course, is a headset that targets one specific use case. I know there's a couple of headsets that we've seen that are, potentially going to work with a single app, like the visor, right, from Immersed. And I worry, right, because we see it time and time again at SideQuest. Content is the number one barrier to entry in VR, and sort of limiting the scope of what your headset can do, and combine that with a potential close to or above $1,000 price tag. I worry about the sustainability of things like that, and unless somebody who's a vendor is able to take the hit on losing money on their first and maybe even second device, if they're really willing to go for the long haul there, and it takes a big amount of money and resource to be able to do that. I see you nodding along there, Simon. Go ahead, I'll call on you for a hot take.
I was just I had to nip out early, so I missed a little bit of what you were saying earlier. But I read the David Heaney article, and I think that's probably the most rounded kind of review of the Pro that I've seen so far. I thought that was quite a cool piece of kit. On the thing about quantum computing, I know that was a little while ago, but one of the issues I seem to keep reading about is that conventional computing just seems to just be able to, they keep emulating so well now that there's less justification. Obviously, we've got to crack the whole quantum computing thing, but there's a whole array of conventional computing that can sort of obviously you're talking about supercomputers here, but that can emulate quantum computers. That's a fascinating thing to me as well. And regarding the next headset, I think it's got to be foveated rendering. I think that's
100%.
Foveated is it's got to be that, and
That's
then
the winner right
then I don't know.
The
Does
main reason
that
they
allow
can't
you
make
to?
it feasible is because of decoherence. That's the main reason they haven't made quantum computers possible on a
What was
large
that? Sorry again,
scale.
Appy, said it again.
The main reason is just decoherence. That's why it's not feasible on a large scale. Otherwise, I would say it would be done a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic. Yeah.
The thing
So yeah,
that
foveated rendering is definitely the way to go, I think, with the next
100%.
headsets. And like you said, Zuckerberg talked about it just the other day, didn't he? He said that
knows.
he kind of
knows.
hinted
Doesn't have
that
to
that would be
face
the next
tracking.
headset.
Just having that
Yeah.
eye tracking there, just that extra point of reference, right? That's the biggest apps
Yeah.
in most VR. It's social, right? And just having that accessible to more people, having people be able
Yeah.
to look at each other and have that more personal connection than having
Yeah.
falsified
Presence.
animations and
Yeah.
it's
Doesn't it also
It
help
removes the
though with
barriers.
the processing power that's
100%.
required?
That's
that you
that
can.
over everything is what I'm more excited for. Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not too
doesn't that
fussed
mean
about the
then you
social
can
stuff.
you can optimize your
100%, yeah.
processor?
You can probably get
just for those
50%,
few
not
pixels.
quite 50. Well, up to 50%, depending on how you kind of
Right.
do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Simon,
So yeah, that would be good.
Anders
Oh,
told me
I'm not
that
jumping.
you haven't been jumping, so you're going to have to do
Oh,
a
sorry.
5-minute jumping
Yeah.
penalty on
Well,
the table there.
I'm no good at it anyway. So there you go. I've finished now anyway. My battery's dying anyway. So
You got it. You're just processing the stuff that's in the middle, right? And when you're looking around in real life, you don't.
That's right.
When the stuff around your peripheral vision, up to about 30 degrees outside of that,
I
it's
know,
all blurry. You don't really look.
It's shocking, isn't it, when you actually
when you think
when
about
you look at how the human eye actually makes use of your visual field. Like you say, it's only a very small section that has got that sort of color field with
Yes.
a bit of high res. Everything else is like you say,
jank,
like
yeah.
Bob says, just a blur. Fascinating
is.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, I'm
definitely.
not jumping
Yeah.
on the table.
No, it's all
That's
good.
all right.
Just to
I'll
pop
have one
onto
little.
your
I'll just have a
quantum
practice.
computing thing. It was
Yeah.
most of the tasks that are done, classical computers are just needed. They don't really need a quantum computing
That's right. Yeah.
purpose for a lot of the tasks that we need right now. We need to invent special tasks to even make these quantum computers even worth doing right now. We need to make these crazy number problems, right? That takes
Yeah.
hundreds of years to solve. That's the stuff
Yeah.
that we're chucking at it right now. And as you were
Yeah.
saying, the classical computers are catching up to it with
They
better
do.
algorithms. Yeah, it's great, and the quantum computers are helping the classical computers too. So it's a
That's right.
feedback loop.
It's giving them new ideas, isn't it, about how to code? Yeah.
It is a
I-
fundamental paradigm shift, really. I mean, I think you have to basically throw everything out that we do right now and start entirely from scratch with these things. So I imagine that there's going to be a lot of bridging, a lot of overlap, a lot of emulation, right? Emulation is
Yeah.
kind of key to being able to test, simulate, get a flavor for it before it's widely available. But I imagine at some point, right, we'll be looking at what we have today is generally sandboxed in what we consider to be legacy compute, right? That's eventually what we're probably gonna refer to it as, and it has to, right? It has to end up that way, because as much as what we're doing with conventional computing is amazing, it is more of a feat of optimization than it is a feat of technological advancement. Like processors, silicon chips now for a number of years have been more focused on error correction due to the inconsistencies introduced by such small form factor that they just fix and accommodate a huge number of problems with what's going back and forth, right? So there's like a significant overhead there just to handle that error correction because things are so quantum
Weird.
in even
Yeah.
conventional commuting right now,
Yes.
right? And that's a bit of an issue. But and that's the problem, right? That's Moore's law. That's the limit of silicon. I don't know how many more nanometers we can drop
I was
that
going to
down
say,
to.
what they're down to now, is it 4 or getting down to 3?
Yeah.
Is that what they're heading
Well,
for?
these are fake nanometer
It's
numbers,
so
really. They're all
is it?
blurry.
blurry.
Those numbers. Yeah.
Okay.
That could be
Yeah,
a
it's
whole
so
nother
blurry at that
episode.
size.
Yeah.
But
All right.
yeah, I mean, we've been living on borrowed time, and it's been, multi-core rather than trying to increase the capacity of anything vertically. And I think inevitably we will reach that scenario where, I mean, we can build as many computers as we want. We can put them all together and we can make massive supercomputers out of PS5s if that's what we want to do. But the truth is, at a certain point, you kind of want to breach that threshold and get through to that next generation, because we're all just we're trying to fake it till we make it, almost a little bit, I think, in that regard. I mean, Appy, it sounds like you probably one of the most valuable opinions in the room on this topic, but I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Okay, so based on what I did, based on my final year, I did a group project on quantum anomaly detection algorithms. So basically, me and my group, we sort of compared classic algorithms run on a classical computer and a quantum computer, and we found that like the classical computer one, that's more efficient, but it doesn't apply the same for the quantum computer one. So accordingly, my input would be that currently all algorithms are more efficient on classical computers than quantum computers. So it's like the point is, why are we using quantum computers when they're not efficient? But I see in terms of when you want like a artificial super intelligent processor or something like that, there's 2 ways. One is the optical way, so you can make an optical ASI neuromorphic chip, or the second way is a quantum superconductive one. But then there's different technologies that I know from my lecturer. I think there's 2 or 3 different materials that they're trying to aim to use, and I think I've forgotten the names, so one's like harder than the other. But I think in terms of quantum development, it's more theoretical now, but I think they're trying to make it more practical in 5 or 10 years, but that will be with like 5 or 10 qubits, or I don't think it's going to be to a possibility of millions of qubits. This is what, because
What are
my
we on now, like 200 and
supervisor,
something?
yeah, something like around less than 400, I would say,
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point with IBM.
Mm.
But my lecturer, he told me that in terms of the development in that industry, they know that they can't make a system that's with millions of qubits, but they can make it
Yeah.
somehow scalable for industries in terms of like 10 or 20 qubits. And then maybe in the future, when you can get past the decoherence problem, that's when they could sort of make a huge make a proper quantum computer, but that would be years away. But for now, what they have already in industry, they're trying to improve upon that. That I think that's the way quantum computing is going. But another way I see is optical computing. I think
Yeah.
that
I need to
will
look
be
into that.
something that could go powerful right now. That's what's in my head.
Gotcha. And what is optical computing? Just for somebody who doesn't necessarily know detail about that term, what is that? Is that photonic? Is that
Things
What
like
Yeah,
would
light
that
gates,
use?
photonic
right? Lasers and
computing.
stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more feasible, and you can miniaturize them and have millions, say, on one chip. So it's actually doable right now. And I know
Yeah.
like a lot of the technology is going into neuromorphic chips, which is like they try to replicate how your brain works using optics, and they're directly like testing and building these chips.
Oh boy.
Gotcha.
And then you can use
Deep stuff
machine
there.
learning.
Brain matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can use machine learning to with these chips as well. So now it's more making, machine learning in a hardware sort of basis. I think.
Gotcha. I mean, this
Yeah,
is the sort of
that's
stuff that's probably going to make it into like dedicated SoCs in the next sort of 5 years or 10. God knows how long, right? But that's where we're probably going to see it emerge first. Is here's a dedicated chipset for such and such a task, probably something computer vision related, or something machine learning related at the minimum. But here's a dedicated chip that just does it. And honestly, the people who built it don't fully understand how it does it, but it does.
I think as much as I hate to admit it, a lot more of it will be cloud though as well. A lot more, especially.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe if
it
it
is
can
nice
be
to
as
have.
miniaturized as you say,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you can have local models on GPUs. Are pretty powerful now.
I mean, there's another thing about it, right? I think one of the biggest barriers for having that power in a mobile device, let's say, is just that, right? Power. Power is kind of something that we've been struggling with for a while. Quantum, nuclear fusion, right? It's probably going to make some changes there, and it's another technology we keep hearing about that's so close to becoming practical. But right
The
now,
joke
it's still
is,
not
my
quite
lecturer
there.
said back in
Here
the
we go.
80s, they told him that in 20 years fusion would be the main source of power, and he was like, I don't think I've aged. They're still saying
Yeah.
it's 20 years ahead. So
Yeah.
they always
always
say
do,
it's going to
don't they?
come out. It never does.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Commercially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But better battery technology, that's also something that
That's
we need.
what we need. We're close. We
Definitely.
do have
I'm
little
in for that, yeah.
steps up slowly, but it's no major. We've had like what is it, 8% increase in lithium technologies in the last 20 years. That's it, of efficiency. That's it. Like battery technology has been the biggest slow increase of what's the
Efficiency.
word? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's stuck
Yeah, you're
now
waffling,
since
Bob.
quite
Nice
some
one.
time.
Yep.
Lithium-based batteries are really just
They're just
a
crap,
dead end. We have
Yeah.
to switch to carbon-based, and I mean,
Yes.
it's the
Carbon
same
nanojuice.
like. It's the same like I just watched this video from Basectarium about the blue LED, and it's in a
Yes.
pretty similar situation. So everyone knows how it works, everyone knows how to build it, but you can't build it efficiently.
Cheaply. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm just speaking for me, but I mean, I'd prefer to be smoking all that lithium, right? The
Exactly.
boys are stealing all our lithium. We could be enjoying that lithium. Oh no.
1444
Some good
has
lithium there.
joined the space.
We went too far on lithium. They was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, before we
That's it.
end, can I have a go as well?
Go for it.
Get in there.
Jump right in.
You're all
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah. I was thinking about the big screen
Static Thread
beyond
has joined the
headset.
space.
Have anyone tried it? Is it any good?
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
Dave, you tried it? No? Anybody else?
No.
No. Looks interesting though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely looks
Apparently it's got
interesting. The optics.
Loads of problems.
Well,
Loads of problems.
this is of course the issue, right? We have seen a rise in social media companies taking to building VR headsets. I think they see the model that Facebook has done and think, "Oh, I can superimpose myself on that." You've got Somnium Space have come out with the Somnium one. You've got Immersed have come out with the Visor. You've got Big Screen have come out with the Beyond. It's a very ambitious thing to be able to do it, and it's the same as, like I said before, you need to be prepared to swallow the cost of that first headset and know that you're going to lose a lot of money on it, and be able to absorb that whilst continuing to innovate and continuing to build on the second one, knowing that you very well might lose money on the second one too. It's such a long game on these things that I worry that a lot of these devices just won't be sustainable long term. As much as they're so much better, I don't think the big screen is going to replace the 5-year-old Index, even though it should. I don't think people are going to buy it enough to be able to say that that's a thing. But listen, I tell you what, I'll just take
the
a
biggest
quick
cut of the impact of VR overall on the Steam survey. Go on, sorry.
I am waffling, and as a result, we've got close to the end of time. So for Shoseki's benefit, I'll just do a quick wrap up, and maybe while I'm doing it, we can all just wave aimlessly, like we're at the end of one of those corporate videos where they have like little clips from each branch, and we'll just all wave aimlessly. Thank you guys. This is honestly a really fun event. I've been really enjoying it. Thanks for coming to Tech Waffle. We do this once a week, same time every week. Shoseki can cut it there. But no, we can keep the conversation going. We don't have to finish up. Have you got any other thoughts, Wolf?
No, it was just a question if someone knows if it's